I have so much to update you on. I actually tried to put makeup on today for like the first time in like 2 weeks. This is wild. Wild! Hello! I went to the hospital. Everything's fine now. I'm feeling a lot better now, first and foremost. I'm doing really well right now, so that's good. Also, just to update, the cold capping that I've been doing for each chemo treatment seems to be really working. I've only had like very minimal hair shedding. I've just been letting my hair air dry. I've been washing it very minimally, and obviously it's just kind of doing its own thing. But very cool, the cold capping's working. I didn't know what kind of expectations to have for it, so that's awesome. Last I talked to you guys, I had just done my chemo round 3, and chemo round 3 itself was a success. Everything that happened after chemo round 3, not so successful. Let me walk you through what's been going on. And I wrote some stuff down because my chemo brain, like they say, you get chemo fog brain and like you really can't remember anything, and like I really can't remember anything. So it's kind of a perfect time for me to make content on the internet, because if you say anything bad about me, I won't remember. And also, you can't say anything bad about me because I have breast cancer. Let's see, I don't even know how to begin to tell this story. I've cried a lot about this story, and I'm in a much better place about it now, so I can talk about it with a smile on my face. Don't think I haven't processed and won't continue to process the trauma of what has gone down. I'm doing that. Part of processing is, I think, talking it out, so let's talk it out. So after chemo, things were fine in that I started to feel bad, which is normal. They say the, 5 to 10 days after your chemo session are like the worst. Started that downhill decline into predictable bad. Then things started to get more bad. My stomach was just killing me. I was having diarrhea constantly, all day long, all night long. I was feeling nauseous even after taking anti-nausea medicine. My entire stomach just felt like it was like rotting from the inside, which is a very specific feeling to just sort of walk around with. What feels like an intestinal graveyard. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. Those are good things for me to do for my body. I started to just feel like something was wrong. Like this was more than just chemo side effects. I was super fatigued and dizzy. Everything seemed disgusting to me. I couldn't eat like anything other than crackers. Everything was just passing through me almost immediately. On Monday, I went to my surgical doctor for an appointment to get an ultrasound on this fun friend, and I threw up in the bathroom of the doctor's office. That was the bad news. The good news is that at that appointment, the tumor in my left breast has shrunk dramatically. That's amazing. I'm so excited about that. So all she could see on the ultrasound was the clip that was put in initially during my first biopsy. They put clips in so that you can find the tumor again when you're looking at it through imaging devices. There seemed to be no tumor, just clip, and that's incredible. My doctors and I get to have now some conversations about what's gonna happen next. I felt like a corpse going to that appointment. I could barely get my body there. When we were leaving, I had to run to the bathroom and puke, which was a new development in the side effects. I hadn't been throwing up at all. I'd been so happy about not puking, you know, and I started puking, and that made me sad. Tried to sleep it off. Tuesday woke up, felt worse, so my doctor scheduled at-home hydration for me on Wednesday, thinking that maybe this was just dehydration. Also Tuesday night, I started to run a fever, and I was running fevers between like 99 and 104. We have all these different thermometers and they all seem to read differently. Have you guys noticed that we have now figured out how to get a universally sound thermometer? We're all using these thermometer guns. They are so inconsistent. Finally got an old school just mouth thermometer. Tuesday night, I felt awful. Gave myself some potatoes to try and just put something in my body. I threw up the potatoes. I love potatoes. To throw them up was just so disheartening. Then cut to Wednesday, a nurse comes to our house to do hydration. I'm like laying on the couch, half awake, half asleep, like my eyes just want to close and I'm trying to keep them open out of respect for this woman, but she comes in and the way she looked at me like she was looking at a dead body. I don't think expected to walk into a patient in that condition. She took my blood pressure and it was so low. She looked at me and was like, I don't know how you're conscious right now. And I was like, I don't know either. I feel like I am in some in-between state of consciousness and unconsciousness right now. I am in a very uncomfortable liminal universe right now. She gave me hydration, but she also was like, I can't in good conscience leave you in this sort of condition. So she helped us craft an email to my oncologist about her worries that I had like septic shock or some sort of infection. And then my doctor, of course, immediately was like, go to the ER. So the last thing I wanted to do was pick up my frail Smeagol body and take it to a hospital with a lot of people around, but I knew I had to go to the hospital. I don't think I've ever been that scared about my health ever. So we go to the ER, everybody's favorite place. We park in the hospital parking lot and we can't find the entrance, so we walk what feels like 5 miles. And Elliot's like weekend at Bernieing me to this entrance. On these busy streets with all these cars going by, I have sunglasses on. I had 2 pairs of sweatpants on because I had such a chill in my body I couldn't get it out, and also I was having so much diarrhea. I figured if I through 1 pair of pants, I already had a spare. They immediately take us back, thank God, and they put me in a room. They switch me to a gown. I'm freezing cold now, so they like pile like 8 different blankets on me. They run tests and realize that I am critically depleted in like everything. Calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. I don't know why I said it like potassium, but I had no potassium. And I was just so scared the whole time. I've never felt, not to be dramatic, I felt like I was like dying. Like I felt like I was in the room, but I was in a different place. And then they asked me to give them a urine sample, so I like hobble to the bathroom with a cup, get the cup, pee in the cup, give them back the cup, and then they tell me that they need a stool sample, but only if I can. They know that I am in a condition that is unwell. They don't want to pressure me to try and do something that's difficult for a healthy person to do. But when I heard that, I knew like I have to give them this stool sample. I had been having diarrhea so much, and I knew that the answer to what was wrong with me was in the diarrhea. And so I knew I had to give them some diarrhea. And I wasn't gonna leave that hospital until I did. I've never given a stool sample in my entire life. I had already at this point planned on doing an at-home stool sample retrieval to give to my doctor before getting so sick that I had to go to the ER. So it was already on my radar that I was going to be making a donation of fecal. I just didn't realize that it was going to be now, and I was going to have to do it in this busy emergency room. But I thought, you're strong, Helbig. You're fighting breast cancer and you're fighting really well. And this is part of the battle. You can do this. You give them that shit. And I was determined. So, my first attempt. We're just in a side room on the emergency room floor, so it's filled with desks and people milling around, cops, EMTs, everyone's coming in and out and hanging out, and everyone's having a lot of just like casual conversation while handling very serious stuff. It is a wild dichotomy of just like chill, fun party time and like wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, like emergency. Like they were shooting with each other and then turning around and telling me that I need to shoot them some so that they can run some tests. I've been constantly. It comes out of me just like a waterfall. I'm sorry for the disgustingness of this video, but you guys wanted updates on my health journey, and this is the update. First attempt, I say, I'm gonna try, and she gives me a cup again. Just a cup, a little Dixie cup. And I think, well, that's quite a small target, isn't it? But we can do it. I'm in a delirious state. I have half dead person confidence. I'm not gonna die without giving them some diarrhea, so let's do this. I hobble. I'm trying to keep the back of my gown closed, which just like isn't working. I hobble past some cops. I still have like cords tied onto my fingers from the EKG machine that I'm hooked up to. I get to the bathroom. I sit on the toilet and I put the cup down and stuff's coming out of both holes. And the cup's filling up with urine more than it's filling up with the other stuff. I'm thinking, okay, maybe if it's just like a combo of the two, they have scientific strainers or something. They have tools for this. They must have tools. Getting all over like my fingers. I can't see anything because the gown is like covering my crotch. Cords that I'm getting wet. Strings from the gown are now falling into the toilet water. Just like a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. There's liquids everywhere. Put the cup on the ground and I stand up to try and wash my hands off and clean myself up, and I don't know what it was about the thrust of standing up from sitting down, but suddenly as I stood up, I started so I rush back to sit back down and I grab the cup that's overrun with liquids already and I try to dump some out, and I'm trying to catch what seems to be falling out of my body uncontrollably, and I can't do it, and there's more liquids and the cords are getting everywhere, and I finally just stop and I put it on the ground and I look at myself and I've become an animal. I've become a half-dead animal. I get up and I wash my hands and I clean my own feces off of the floor. I clean up as best as I can. I try to dry off the EKG machine thing so they don't know that that got wet in this entire process. I've been clanking around in there, and this bathroom is like in the middle of the busy ER room. And finally I come out trying to keep my gown closed again because decency I care about at this point, sort of. And I hobble over and I like put the cup down. I say, I hope you can use that. I think it's got a little bit of both in there. And the way this nurse looked at me, she looked at me like she knew there was a struggle that went down in there. Even though I waged a war with myself in there, I didn't win because they can't use this sample. It's contaminated with urine. And in my mind, I'm just like, do you guys not have like a little, like the way the fish tank has the little, like, you guys not have a science one of those? And so she's looking at me like devastated, like she knows that I tried to a degree that was degrading. Looking at me like she's so sorry for my loss. I lost so much of my own dignity in that room. And I'm just like, disappointed in myself, devastated with the experience. This demon inside of me is gonna win just because I couldn't get in a cup. And I got back under the blankets and I was so disappointed in myself. And I looked over at Elliot and he had been looking at me like he knew something terrible happened in there. The nurse left the room and I just looked at him and I said, I shit on the floor. And he started cracking up. And honestly, it was so nice to laugh for like a second in what was a very traumatic experience unfolding. I lay back on the bed, I put the blankets back on top of me, they hooked me back up to the IV into the EKG machine, and I just sat there and I thought, I'm gonna do it again. I'm not gonna let the diarrhea win. All my life, I've let the diarrhea win. I'm not gonna let the diarrhea win this time. And then suddenly I was sitting on that table and I was like, whoa, I gotta go again. Here it comes. And I asked the woman if she could unhook me again so I could run to the bathroom because stuff's coming. And she unhooked me and then she came running around the corner with another little cup that she handed to me almost in like slow motion. And it's like we're in some uplifting sports film where I'm about to go to the big competition, but oh my God, I forgot my shoes. Here she comes with my cup shoes. Get the cup and I slam the door of the bathroom, ass fully out. EMT cops just hanging out, sipping coffee, getting a good look at my diarrhea-stained ass. And I shut the door of that bathroom and I sit on the toilet and I connect, god damn it. I connect with that cup. We are one, me and the cup and this filthy demon that's squirting out of me. And I slam the cup on the ground and I get up and I wash my hands again. I try to dry the EKG machine cord. And I come out of the bathroom and I'm still letting my ass hang out because at this point it's like a victory lap. And I put the cup on the counter and I'm like, I did it. And they were like, oh my God, that's fantastic. They were proud of me, and I was proud of me. I was so proud of myself. We were in that room for about 4 hours because they were preparing a room for us upstairs because we were going to stay overnight. They were running tests and the results wouldn't be ready till the next day. And also there were so many IVs that I still needed to get pumped into my body. So After about 4 hours, the room upstairs was ready, and so they transported us upstairs, and oh my god, it was like looking at a luxury suite. 2 bedrooms, there was a private bathroom, a nurse was preparing everything, it was clean. I felt like I just got like upgraded on a Delta flight to first class. And as they're wheeling me into the bed in this new room, the new nurse that I now have who's with us upstairs looks at me and she goes, "Oh, I put a bowl on the toilet so I can collect a stool sample for you whenever you're ready." And I said, "What?" And there was just a perfectly placed bowl in this perfectly private bathroom for my imperfect poop to go. And I couldn't believe it. A perfect diarrhea collecting setup just sitting there waiting after I've just crawled around in my own on the bathroom floor downstairs. Oh, I was like, "Oh, I gave them a sample downstairs." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's great. Okay, then we don't need this." And I was like, I'm gonna still do this just in case they can't use the sample downstairs. Cause now I'm panicked that like I didn't do the sample downstairs correctly. So I just immediately walk into that bathroom perfectly into this perfectly placed bowl, hands free, and then went back and sat on the bed just for fun. She ended up dumping it out and throwing the bowl away and didn't need it, but wow, was it so easy. Oh, so at that point, they gave me a bunch more IVs throughout the night. Elliot ran home at some point and got me new underwear and pants and came back, and that was nice. And then I found out the next day that I have something called C. diff, which I now know is C. diff. When all the doctors were saying it to me because they were all wearing masks, I thought they were saying C. dick. I was like, where? I have something called C. diff, which is basically a bacterial infection. And wow, I was so relieved to find out that I had a bacterial infection. Why was I so happy? Because the thought of what I was experiencing being just like standard side effects of chemo, I was like, I can't continue. I'll die. I can't continue through the rest of the treatments that I still have. Like, this is killing me. I'm losing weight like crazy, cannot eat anything. Like, this can't be how people just get through chemo. This is impossible. And so to find out that I have C. diff, a bacterial infection that can be treated with an antibiotic, was like, we can continue with our regularly scheduled cancer killing. It sucks, and it is also contagious. So everyone that was in my room had to wear PPE. Elliot and I have had to be very conscious about our shared space. We have Clorox wipes in both bathrooms. We were wiping everything down. It's like we have our own mini pandemic happening in our little bubble. There is a light at the end of this tunnel. I take antibiotics for 10 days, and hopefully the situation gets rectified. But man, that was a really, really scary experience. But you know what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The more times you try and catch your own diarrhea in a tiny Dixie cup, the more self-actualized you become. You have to dehumanize yourself a little bit to become a better human being. I've learned in this process. I've done that. You know, with this chemo fog brain, like I said, I really forget everything so quickly. But I don't know that I'm going to forget the image of myself crawling around on the ER bathroom floor with my underwear at my ankles, cleaning up my own feces. That's an image that'll be burned into my mind. I got released from the hospital the next day. I got my antibiotics, I've been taking them, and I'm feeling a lot better now, thank God. I am like night and day to what I was. This week I'm getting an MRI and a mammogram so I can get some better images of where the tumor is at or not at, then talk to my doctor about where we go from there. I have chemo round 4 scheduled next Wednesday. For now, I'm very optimistic about things going well. Knock on wood. Been through it a little bit this last week. Been pretty quiet on the old social medias because been handling some business, and now you know. That's kind of the breast cancer update. You never know, turns out, what's gonna happen next. And for everyone else right now that's going through chemo, wow, I got your back. I see you. This is so hard, except my is so loose. We're persevering, and we're still trying to find moments of joy, moments of peace, moments of even, dare I say, fun. That's the update for now. I will see you guys the next time I turn on a camera. I have to go take my medicine and possibly a